but he wore a Metallica shirt one Sunday, and I'm like, I'm cool with this. I get it. I don't have anything, and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. We're not judging people by what they wear. We're not judging people at all. We should accept anybody who walks in the door.
Yeah.
I don't care what they look like.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jake from Talks and Crocs. I got a few people with me today. This is my wife, Shawnee. You've met her before. I need to look at the camera. And this is Stacy and Chris. Dalton and I have talked about them many times before, so we got them on now finally. And kind of excited to get this going. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good.
Tired.
Good. So I know everyone's listened to the podcast before, but we were just talking about playing with things now. So, Dalton, I like to start off with the happy and the crappy of the week. So, let's take to the new people. What's your happy and crappy for the week?
I need to think for a minute. Happy and crappy. I don't know if I have a crappy, because I've had a pretty good week.
That's good.
So I guess my happy would probably be Friday. My boss told me I could go home early.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with going home early. I love that.
Yeah. He came in my office at like 2. He hadn't been in the office all day, and he's like, "How's it been?" I'm like, "Well, it was busy this morning, but it's been quiet the last couple hours." And he's like, "Well, if it stays quiet, just go home." And I'm like, "Okay."
Nice.
No complaining. Just turn off the open sign or whatever. Be like, "No, we're closed now, guys."
Yeah. So I went home early, so that was nice.
That was good.
Monsieur Chris.
Happy. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of
Been a pretty neutral week.
It's been a pretty neutral week, yeah, honestly.
Sometimes it's fairly hard to figure out the happy or crappy. Like the last couple times Dalton and I recorded, I had no crappy. I was good to go.
Yeah.
It's like otherwise it's just always complaining about some stupid thing that happened at my job.
I think maybe my crappy is something that's going on at work, but I think it's going to resolve itself, so
That's
I just need to
good.
be patient.
That's always good.
Yeah.
Stupid people.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's a nice way to put it.
It happens.
And I think the happy is I'm getting excited about VBS, so
Yeah.
That's coming up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be good times.
Are you gonna help with this next week one? With the Rise conference?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm definitely going to help. I'm signed up for all 4
Are
days.
ya?
Yeah, I took Thursday and Friday off to help with that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I might pop in on the weekend and help out because there's some need there, I think.
Yeah, I know. I originally took Thursday off, and then Dawn's like, "Oh, well, you don't have to be there till 7." Like, oh, well, I'm gonna get my vacation back then. I'm limited on vacations, so if I can keep that.
Yes.
Because I know for Holly's, I'm gonna only be there for Wednesday through Friday
Yep.
because of that limited vacation deal.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited for that, but last I heard, there's still only 5 kids signed up.
For
The Rise conference.
Oh, wow.
That's it. So I'm hoping that if we have a bunch of random kids just sign up, otherwise those kids they're
Like
going to
a
be getting
walk-in.
steaks.
yeah.
Otherwise they're all going to be getting steaks and lots of attention from us. No hot dogs and ramen for these kids. We'll give them steak.
Take them over to Texas T-Bone.
Right. You guys are getting a royal treatment.
Got that, with that
VBS.
cinnamon sugar butter or whatever that they do.
That's Texas Roadhouse.
Oh,
But
well,
yeah,
okay, screw T-Bone. We're going to Roadhouse.
Going where the good is.
it's closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Miss Shawnee Sue, how about yours?
Mine's been pretty neutral as well. But let's see, happy.
Happy, joy. Get Ren and Stimpy going.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not.
Putting you on the spot here.
Well, not really. I just haven't thought of anything that's particularly one or the other. I guess I'm glad to be here with you guys today. Yay! Oh, of course. Yesterday, my cousins who live down in Kansas City came through, and we spent 2-3 hours.
It was more like 4 or 5 hours.
It was supposed to be only 1 or 2. They stopped through in Aurora, and we're at my grandma's house, so I got to catch up with them.
Yep.
It's always really nice.
That is nice.
Well, they've got kids Ronan's age, so they were out running around for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we went to Spring City today and had a lot of fun, and he's
Oh,
all
yeah.
worn out, so hoping he'll sleep really good. Crappy? Not a whole lot of crappy. I guess my favorite coworker has been on vacation the last week. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit quieter and a little more boring, I guess, but it's still fine.
Still fine.
We were still texting, so it's fine.
I miss you. Come back.
No, it was more like updates on what other people were doing. It's like, so and so found a duck.
Do you want to tell a story about your duck situation so everyone knows?
So, well, maybe not, because there's some people that might listen to this that I work with and who haven't figured it out yet.
I doubt that she's gonna be like, you're talking to Kayla, right?
Michaela knows. She's
Oh,
on
then
it.
who else?
I don't know.
Just tell the duck story.
Okay, so my coworker thought it would be really funny to order a bunch of these really tiny little ducks. And so she ordered 750 of them.
Oh my gosh.
And it doesn't really look like that much when you look at it all together. It's like a bag like yay big.
Yeah.
But they're so
By yay
small.
big, she was saying about 10 inches. By 10 inches for people just listening only.
Right, sorry. But, 750 ducks, it seems like it's going to go a really, really long ways. But then she started, like, including other coworkers in on it. So, like, each person got, like, 50 ducks or whatever. And it was, like, secretly hiding them all around the office.
Nice.
And so people who didn't know about it were like, where are these ducks coming from? And
my
there's
gosh.
this one person that started collecting a bunch. She had like 46 lined up on her desk
my gosh.
by Thursday. And it's just something fun to like kind of lift the mood. And it's good for morale. And especially like she wasn't really thinking about this when she did it, but rubber ducky is like a sign, not really the sign, but associated with the Mental Health Awareness Month, which is May, which
I didn't
happened to be
know
when
that.
that happened.
Yeah,
So that was kind of cool. It just kind of coincided.
that's fun.
But there was people that were finding them that assigned that meaning to it. I'm like, yeah, totally. That's great. That's definitely what it's for. I think like the original thing, like she was kind of feeling some resentment, so it was like just a harmless prank, little mischief. And then it was like letting go of the resentment, letting it roll off your back like water off a duck. So it's kind of evolved meaning wise, but it's just a fun little thing.
That's great.
Cool. Yeah.
And since she's on vacation for 2 weeks, and she gave some to other people to like keep it going while she's out.
Oh, nice.
I think that'd be fun to do where I work, just hide them in random electrical cabinets.
Yeah,
put them in different wiring harnesses, just see
yeah.
how long it
There's
takes for
some
them all to be found.
really creative places people have put them.
Number each one so that way you can keep track.
There's actually a guy who found a few, and he was like, I'm gonna put my name or like an initial on the bottom of them, so that way if I find it again, like somebody moved it and re-hit it, then I find it again, I'll be like, ha, I've had this one already.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, I'm amazed looking at the screen on the laptop here and how huge my head is compared to everybody else. Because I'm back further than Shawnee here, and my head is still larger than hers.
Well, we've always known that.
Yeah.
You can put your head on my shoulder and we'll still be even at the top of my head and yours.
Okay. So. Yeah, giant head.
That's funny.
It's full
is
of
that
water.
Good with your happy crappy then?
Yeah, sorry.
For me, happy crappy. I don't know if I really have much of a crappy besides, my plans had to all get changed from yesterday, and I don't like when my plans get changed.
Yeah, you have
But
to
they were
really
for
freak
good
out.
reasons. So, once I get something set, that's where I like to keep it. I don't know. It's just how I am.
Just
but
a mini temper tantrum.
temper tantrum. I don't like change, but I'll do it. We've seen family. We haven't seen them forever, so I guess for happy though, I don't know, man. I'm just doing good at work, staying busy, doing a lot of wiring. That's making outpacing other people. So I'm enjoying that. Seeing your family was fun. Yeah. I gotta blow my nose. Keep talking to me.
not sure what we're talking about.
I don't know either. That was the last part of that. What's next?
I think there's a plan.
I don't think there is a plan.
That's okay. That's okay.
There is no plan for topics.
That's
Random.
That's okay.
And we can probably talk about a lot of random things.
It's
Yep.
true.
Ronan is here, but it looks like he's asleep on the couch.
Did he fall asleep already?
It looks like it.
Oh my God.
He's all sprawled out. He's passed out.
Yeah.
He looks comfortable.
Put on Bluey like 5 minutes ago. He's already asleep.
Yeah, I've got nothing against Bluey. I'll sit there and watch it with him
Yeah.
and laugh my butt off the entire time. So they get the mom look down. Well,
Oh,
the
nice.
mom look, they have it down.
Nice.
That's fun.
Well, so everyone's been listening to the podcast here. This is, for anyone that doesn't know, this is a podcast that's meant to show people that us Christian folk, we aren't like those you see on TV, you know, the Catholic type people dressed in gold chains and purple robes and stuff and doing the whole, and I'm going to patros something sancti, whatever. This is meant to show people that we are like everybody else. So we've got a smorgasbord of personalities here. And that's, I don't know where we're going to go with this, but y'all kind of know my personality. Why don't y'all tell us about yourselves, Chris and Stacy?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
You want me to go first?
Ladies first.
I shouldn't
Only
be
manners.
surprised. Well, I'm a computer tech. I do all kinds of stuff with computers and fix people's computers. I work for a small software company here in town and get all the computer questions and run the screens at church and, you know.
And I bother you on our game nights at church for help with this computer.
Sometimes, yeah. That's okay. I'm used to that. So, that's mostly what I do. I like to read. I like to play video games. I like to play board games and role-playing games.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You two introduced us to role-playing games. That's fun. Mm-hmm. Got my own dice.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd ever do that, but I do.
Welcome aboard.
You even said you wanted to get like a
A little
hood.
costume going.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dwarf ranger, so I wanted to get a whole setup and walk in the area on my knees, and
All in character.
I got the beard, just need the hood and stuff. All right,
I think it would be really hard for me to shrink 3 feet, so
it'd be funny to see you try.
It's just a trick camera there.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Yeah.
gonna have.
camera angles.
Right.
Work those camera angles.
Just sit on your knees the whole time so your head's like just barely above the table.
Yeah. Did like this to roll the dice.
Right.
What did I roll, guys? I think I rolled a 7. Is that a 7?
By the way, I'm in a squeaky chair, so I apologize to anyone for that.
Jeez.
I'm always in the squeaky one, though. Even when Dalton and I are recording, I was always in the squeaky chair. So just keeping that tradition going.
You just do it on purpose.
Maybe. It might seem that way to some people.
Unconsciously. I'm digging that squeaky chair.
That one looks comfortable.
Oh, it squeaks even better.
Oh, man. All right.
So I'll circle back around. I'm Chris. I'm a jack of all trades. I do a lot of things. I help with kids' church, run a lot of RPGs, board games, video games. There's a lot of things I do. So
Yeah, he does the Wednesday night children's ministry stuff with us, so we have a lot of fun. Do a lot of dancing, being chased by children with cups of water.
just chasing kickballs everywhere.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of those kickballs were kicked out of bounds on purpose.
On purpose. Correct. Can confirm.
Yes.
I can confirm.
It's good for us. We get our steps.
Yeah. Otherwise, what would we do for exercise? Nothing that fun.
Well, it's true.
Do what I do and walk in place for an hour and a half.
Hey, do what you gotta do to get your steps in.
Yep.
Luckily for me, I'm walking everywhere all the time.
Not me. I'm sit on my behind all day. I do have a standing desk, but that doesn't make you go anywhere.
Yeah. I started standing at my desk and walking when I'm like waiting for stuff to happen on computers. I just stand and walk in place. And my boss walked in one day and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to get my steps." And he started laughing at me. So now if he catches me doing that, he'll just like shake his head and laugh.
I've seen that they got like little bicycle type things you can get at desks and stuff.
Yeah,
now.
like if you're sitting. I would like to, whenever I have my home office complete, I have a desk that raises up for it, and I'd like one of those like treadmills.
The Empire's calling.
I have an alarm going off right now.
Are you supposed to be watering the garden?
I don't know what it's for. I honestly have no idea.
A random
It's not even set up on my alarm. I don't know where it came from.
That's funny.
It's weird.
Randomalarm.com.
Randomalarm.com will randomly alarm everybody around you.
That's great.
Huzzah! It was on my calendar. I don't know where it came from. Whatever.
Maybe Dalton got in your phone and set it up.
I didn't see him today, so it wouldn't have been that.
Well, maybe you did a while back. That'd be
He
a good
could
drink.
have.
I could see him doing
That
that.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Set it up for a random time.
I should have some people's computers at work because nobody likes to log out or lock their laptop when they walk away. I do all the time because we used to screw with each other when I worked at the
That's a big security.
other factory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I worked at the other factory in Columbus, I'd go put Ren and Stimpy for people's backgrounds and stuff.
Nice.
That's just the grossest backgrounds those two are. No. Huh? I'm just trying to think of where we go.
Did you want to ask questions about like testimonials or?
Wow, you want to go deep here? Tell us your life-changing events.
Not if you don't want to share your testimony.
I don't.
What brought you to abundant life?
Start there.
Oh, wow.
We moved to Grand
We
Island.
moved to Grand Island and we were going to, we can call it a sister church to Abundant Life.
Yeah.
There's a sister church in North Platte that we were going to called Harvest Christian.
Oh, cool.
And we're like, hey, we're going to move to Grand Island. We're going to move to Grand Island. Is there, a church similar? And one of the pastors was like, yeah, Abundant Life's pretty close. We deal with them. And thank God.
We walked in. That's
Yeah. And we were like,
ever
we're
since.
home. Yeah.
That's our story too. Well, not switching from one to the other, but like walking in and like, okay, we're here.
Yeah. So are we talking about testimonies?
We can if we want.
Because I don't think I've ever heard yours.
I was.
And here we are.
Let's see. I would have been 7 or 8, I think, when I got saved. I was going to a Southern Baptist church, and my brother and sister and I were all in the same kids class. My brother's 2 years younger than me. My sister's 4 years younger than me. And they walked us through the plan of salvation, and we all accepted Christ at the same time. And then they took us in to talk to the pastor, and then we went through that together and prayed at the same time, and then went through and had our baptism together.
Wow.
Yeah, all at the same time. But I was pretty little. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but yeah, I was pretty little.
Yeah.
That's neat.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever have like a time in your life where you kind of like strayed?
Oh
from the
yeah,
church?
yeah.
Oh, I know I did.
The church that we were going to at the time, where the one where I was saved, we went through a transition where our pastor retired because he was like 70, I think. He'd been at the church for a long time, and we got this new pastor. The old pastor, he was not a good preacher. He was a wonderful pastor, but not a good preacher. So, like, people in the congregation would fall asleep while he was preaching. Even his wife would fall asleep. We got a new pastor who came in and preached, and we voted him in. And he could preach wonderful, but he was not a good person. He lied to our family, about our family. We were cleaning the church. My family cleaned the church, and we would have done it for free, but they wanted to pay us. and he told my
Careful, kitty.
he told my mom or my dad that they didn't want people who went to the church cleaning it. And we were told by somebody else something totally different, and they were just trying to get rid of people. Later, that pastor embezzled a bunch of money from the church and disappeared. So that happened when I was in my teens, and so therefore a good maybe 10 years, I think, we were out of church. Well, maybe it wasn't that long. Maybe it's like 6. But then when I was in my early 20s, we went to another church, and it was another Baptist church. Our neighbor invited us to it, and we started going to that church. And actually, because we started going to that church is why I met Chris.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Yeah, because the pastor at that church, his wife and him, they both worked at a school, a Christian school, a private Christian school that was in the area, and they asked us to.
Hi, Lilith.
Hi, Lilith.
There's a kitty that just jumped up here. See her on YouTube.
So he asked my brother and sister and I if we wanted a job cleaning the school. So we started cleaning the school, which ultimately led to me teaching preschool at the school for a while, in addition to the cleaning. And I met his aunt through that. His aunt was a teacher at the school. And then she asked me to email him, not because she was trying to set us up. And if it was anybody else, I would have just been like, no, absolutely not. But Delon, she's not a good liar. She's not good at bluffing or anything like that. So I knew she was like, her intentions were completely pure. She's like, my nephew Chris, he's going through a hard time. He needs a friend. You guys are a lot alike. I think you guys would be good friends. I'm like, okay, I'll email him. We'll see what happens. And he even asked me out before I was ready and told him no. I turned him down.
Gosh, that's familiar.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this guy's being ready before the limit.
I mean,
There are a lot of crazy people in this world.
gotta be sure.
Yep. So but I was out of church for a while, and then when we first moved to Grand Island, we were going through some things. His dad died, his brother died within 18 months of each other.
That's hard.
Yeah. So we stepped away for a few years too, and of being regular attenders at Abundant Life because we were just going through so much. So.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you want to elaborate now since you asked the question, Shawnee?
On what?
Testimonial stuff?
We haven't heard Chris's testimony.
Yeah.
Deflection.
I haven't said anything yet. I'm good for this. When I was growing up, we went to the church that was in our town that I grew up in. It was a small town. And it was a Lutheran church, if I remember right. Anyway, we went to a new church, and first day, I had an older brother at the time. He's 4 years older than me, and I only had one sibling. So we went to this children's church, just the two of us. And there was probably 30 kids in there, and like 2 or 3 pastors and a bunch of helpers. But we get in there, we're sitting around with a bunch of other kids, and they bring this girl down this, because it was downstairs, the kids' room was downstairs in this building. They bring this girl in, and her right leg was about a foot shorter than her left. So she couldn't walk, they basically had to assist her in. So they bring her in and they sit her down, and the pastor at the time was a female, and she begins to explain that, you through the power that God has given us, you can do miracles, and you're going to see a miracle today. Now, I don't know exactly how old I was, but I was old enough to understand how science worked enough, and smoke and mirrors. I'd seen enough TV and read enough of different things to understand that, with smoke and mirrors, you can make anything look cool. So they had this chick and this kid, and sorry, I shouldn't call her a chick. She's little. They had her lay down in this chair, and I'll never forget this. She was laying down in the chair, and the pastor was holding her two legs, and she started praying, and we watched her right leg extend miraculously. Now, in being unsaved and not knowing the difference, I started looking around, walking around the entire place, trying to see, okay, where's the smoke and mirrors? How are they doing this magical thing that, looks so amazing? And there wasn't. It was a true miracle.
Wow.
Yeah. So life-changing.
Yeah.
We saw a video not long ago. I think I saw it again. It popped up on my timeline. It was, I think, in Africa. This gal's upper arm was like totally crushed and in a ball. Like the entire crowd just praying over her. There had been some kind of revival thing. They were just like kind of going crazy with it. You could just watch her arm extend out. It was nuts. So I think something like that could happen for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I watched that leg get extended out normally, and she stood up and walked, which she hadn't done, as far as I know, ever. So just life-changing. And from then on, we went to that church until it closed, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years.
I'm surprised to hear that came from a Lutheran church, to be honest.
Well, I was going to a Lutheran church, but this was a evangelical church.
Oh, okay.
We switched. Because it was a big change for us.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
I've never heard anything like
Oh, no.
a pastor talk like that in a Lutheran church. They're more Catholic than anything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard
Sing
them
from the
called
hymnal.
I've heard them called lazy Catholics, which I kind of agree with that one.
Lazy Catholics.
It's not wrong.
Funny.
But no, that's amazing. That was going to blow me away. You said, "Yeah, I was at a Lutheran church." And what?
Yeah, that's my testimonial.
Nice.
Is it your grandparents go to evangelical church? Where do they go to?
You mean my grandpa?
Yeah.
They're Seventh-day Adventists.
Oh,
okay.
Didn't they used to go to evangelical one?
I don't think so.
I wonder who I knew that did. Oh, well.
7-day Advents are no bacon, right?
Yeah, they don't do the pork stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you go to Acts, it says it's okay. I'm just saying,
I'm getting,
for anyone out there, all food is okay.
I'm gonna derail. I have a friend that I met in Lincoln when I first moved there, and hung out with him. We went to places. He had hamburgers all the time with bacon and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I go to his parents' house because that's where he was at the time, and they serve us food. They're like, "Hey, stay for us," and sure, whatever. I get this hamburger they serve me, and I'm like, "This is not bacon." To my mind, I didn't say it out loud. I took a bite, and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "This is interesting bacon." What is it? And they're like, "Oh, it's turkey bacon." And I look at my friend Nate, and I'm like,
Like, dude.
and then he's like, "Yeah, my parents don't eat bacon, don't." And I'm like, "Okay."
I have had turkey bacon before, and I do enjoy it as long as I know that that's what it is.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
a surprise.
expecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, "What's this fake bacon?" I don't know.
No, I don't want bacon. I want real bacon.
Right?
You don't want fake bacon?
No,
Faking?
gotta be the good stuff.
Sorry, I'm in Acts right now. I'm going to
I'm
pull
trying
that
to
up.
find it.
Yes.
Did you highlight
Okay,
it?
so yeah, it's highlighted right
Oh,
here.
look at that.
Of course, I highlighted things. So I want to go to the whole deal in Acts. It's in Acts chapter 10 where they basically say all food is okay. It's Peter's having a vision from God at the time. It's where he's telling talking about Cornelius and stuff. But go to verse 11. He saw the sky open. This is out of the NLT, by the way. I just always reference to NLT. It's way easier to understand. He saw the sky open and something like a large sheet was let down by its four corners. In the sheet were all sorts of animals, reptiles, and birds. And then a voice said to him, "Get up, Peter, kill and eat them." "No, Lord," Peter declared, "I have never eaten anything that our Jewish laws have declared impure and unclean." But the voice spoke again, "Do not call something unclean if God has made it clean." The same vision repeated 3 times, and the sheet suddenly pulled up to heaven. So notice, unclean and impure was made clean by the death of Jesus Christ. So all food is clean. I'm just going to put that there.
There you go.
It's probably one of my favorite chapters in Acts chapter 10.
So you can eat shrimp and bacon.
Yes.
Yes.
Seafood.
And we could have mixed clothing. We can't, when before it was like you couldn't mix cotton with other things.
Right.
You can do that now.
Everything had to be kosher.
Yes.
Yep.
Out of all the amazing things that Jesus did, thank you for these little small things.
Yeah, thank
Bacon.
you for getting us out of the old covenant into the new covenant.
Yes.
That would have been a horrible life.
I don't know how they did all that back then.
Lots and lots of rules.
Yeah.
It's a different time.
There's like what, a total of 700 some different commandments in the Old Testament that
That's a
fell under
lot.
the old covenant.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
A lot of rules.
Yeah, different time.
There are some times that I'm kind of like, can we get a new set of rules for today?
Well, they're all in the New Testament.
No, I mean like updated.
I think the New Testament ones all apply.
Well, yeah.
To be honest,
I'm not
like
saying
one of
that's
the
not
greatest
apply,
ones.
but I am saying that there's a lot of things alive in today.
Yeah.
Like in 2022, 23.
We're
Where,
going back.
Here it is.
like there's a lot of new stuff that wasn't around that 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, but the Ten Commandments still technically applies to all that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I can't remember which
And
one it
that's
was that
basically
Jesus
it.
never repeated. There was one that he never said.
One of the
Yeah,
Ten
the
Commandments?
original 10. He never said.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious and I have to go to Dr. Google.
There is one that wasn't repeated, and I don't remember.
Which commandment
I don't remember which
did
one it is.
Jesus not?
Gosh, I'm blanking.
Repeat.
on
It's
it.
not parent. It's not honor your mother or father, because he talked about that.
I don't remember.
Like he basically didn't say the one, but then he added in his final commandment was love one another as I have loved you. Mm-hmm. But which one did he get rid of?
I don't remember.
Or did you just not mention?
There's one that he didn't mention, but I don't remember.
Oh wow, that's a whole
That's a
it's a PDF thing right there.
University of Massachusetts
Oh,
article.
somebody's writing their doctorate on that.
I've got a whole lot of things that aren't related to what it is. I'll have to look that up later. But I do know there was one he left out, and I can't remember which one it was. And that's bothering me.
Now you're gonna fixate.
But yeah, I'm going to sit at work and just listen to the whole New Testament again. So I'm doing that already. Because it's like I asked Dalton what we need to study for the RISE conference, and he was contacting whomever it is that's supposed to help speak or whatnot, and I haven't received anything back. I'm going to have to message him again. You can jump on the laptop? Oh,
Hi, Lilith. Welcome back.
skillful. Cats are ninjas.
Yeah.
It's true.
She usually tries not to step on computers. Aria will come sit on the computer.
Do you have like a mini computer for her?
We have a little nook. It's a little square box that's in there that he uses. It's on the coffee table. She'll sit on that and sleep.
Oh, she loves to sit on that.
She'll sleep sitting
It's
up on that.
warm, so she's like, oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she loves
And
that.
then she'll just chill.
Well, I've just seen where some people like who have problems with their cats trying to interrupt them while they're working. They have like mini laptops or whatever for the cat. And they will leave their laptop on because they have their own. I don't know
that's
what it is.
funny.
Do we
If it's
still-
just like specific cats that do that, but I thought
Do
that
we
was
still
kind of
have that
funny.
red laptop?
Oh, probably.
We can just plug it in. And she'll-
Plug it in and turn it on.
She'd
and
probably
let her
just
sit
chill on that.
There you go.
This is my laptop. It's so beautiful.
Something to try.
We're going to try that, yeah.
That's funny.
That's very
I think we
entertaining.
still have that many. I used to use it for work, for
Oh.
on-site calls. It was a old Windows XP laptop. It was one of those little tiny laptops that my mom had, and she broke the hard drive in it. It had a spinning
Ooh.
platter drive, and she
Kind of like
basically
this one has.
yeah, and she left it on, and she left it in her bag, and it ruined the hard drive. And she sent it to me. She lives in Kansas City, and she sent it to me, and I got it, and I'm like, oh yeah, the hard drive's toast. So I put an SSD drive in there, upgraded the memory, and it worked okay. It had Windows. I think I upgraded it to Windows 7. Yeah, I think I upgraded it to Windows 7 and used it for a while, but then it was just really slow, so
Yeah.
I stopped using it for work. So we might still have it.
Shawnee, what's yours?
My testimony? Well, we went to church, the First Christian Church in Aurora for as long as I can remember. My parents are deacons. So it was just the normal thing to do. And then we got this one pastor, Pastor Sam Fox.
Is that the guy that married us?
Yes.
Okay.
You officiated. And I don't know, something about the way that he preached and just made that personal connection, like outside of just the service. He really genuinely cared, and it made me really want to dive in more. And so I went through a whole confirmation class with him and got baptized at the end. And I don't know, it was just something about that person really inspired me to want to dig deeper and get closer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Makes sense.
When we went to the Second Baptist Church, Metropolitan Southern Baptist Church in Kansas City, Kansas, the pastor there, he shepherded us more than we had been at the other church.
Yeah.
We did a Bible study that was like an in-depth Bible study that you had like 7 days worth of homework, and we had to journal and all kinds of stuff. It was called The Mind of Christ. We went through that. We went through Experiencing God. We went through a program that's called Share Jesus Without Fear, and it's like a witnessing kind of thing. That one was a little bit lighter, but it gave you different ways to interact with people and to witness.
Right.
So we went through a bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, I totally understand exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's amazing how like somebody can come into your life and make such a huge impact and then just like gracefully exit.
Yeah.
Because he was only with our church for a handful of years. And then he moved to Kansas, and I didn't really hear from him a whole lot. I did contact him when we were planning our wedding. I was like, hey, you meant a lot to me when I was going through my confirmation and everything. Would you mind coming back up and officiating our marriage? So he came up, and that was the last time I've seen him. But it really meant a lot to have somebody who was that important to me at such a pivotal time in my life to come back and officiate. But then, so I got involved in something called travel camp, which is basically like a 10 or 11 day experience where you're just with a group of 50 other teens on a bus, and you got tents, and you go from like one national park to another, set up camp and do all of the traveling things, and then you've got like your small groups. Every night you meet and you pray and you go through whatever the chapters are that you're focusing on for that few days. And then there's like a group worship around the campfire, and it was just like a really amazing experience. We went to Yellowstone one year, and we went to...
Yeah, I was jealous of all the places you went.
We went to the Grand Canyon the next year, and then we went to Alberta, Canada.
Wow.
And it was just like a really amazing like annual experience there for a few years. That just being in contact with that many other teenagers that were like really into their faith meant so much, but it was something that I didn't have during the rest of the year, because going to the church that I did, we had very, very few youth. It was like me and my sister and maybe two others. So I wasn't used to that big community, and it was really cool to have that many other people, like-minded people.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it wasn't my normal. So when I went to college, and I wasn't looking forward to those annual trips anymore, and I never even considered like mission trips or anything, which probably would have given me a similar experience but better, you know, because you're helping people. But we kind of, or at least I kind of like strayed away from my faith. I didn't attend church for several years after graduating high school. And then when we got married and I finished college and we moved to Aurora, and we decided that we wanted to have kids, I was like, hey, this is something that we really need to come back to the church. We should find a church here locally. And so we started up the Methodist Church in Aurora. It's a great church, lots of really good people, but it just didn't feel like the right place for us. So, and then when Ronan was a baby, it's just very hard to motivate yourself when you're that sleep deprived to get there and be consistent. And so we kind of fell out of it again. And it was like your weekends were your sacred space, where it's like, this is the only time we have at home to get anything done, because you're in that phase of life where you're just so busy all the time.
Yeah.
But when Ronan was 5, he started asking questions, and it was amazing. So I was like, okay, now we really need to find a church. And the first one that we walked back into was Abundant Life, and it has been amazing. The community that we found here, and we feel so accepted, and it's just been awesome, and I don't see us leaving. So
The people are so nice.
right.
The example I like to give on how people don't really judge at our church is last year there was a person with a Sturgis shirt on, and I'm pretty sure the gal was mostly naked on the Sturgis shirt. Nobody said anything. And you walk into many other churches, and that person's going to get kicked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did not see that here.
Given very judgmental looks.
Yeah.
I like that we have a teenager who plays guitar. I'm not going to say any names, but he wore a Metallica shirt one Sunday, and I'm like, I'm cool with this. I get it. I don't have anything, and nobody said anything.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. We're not judging people by what they wear. We're not judging people at all. We should accept anybody who walks in the door.
Yeah.
I don't care what they look like,
Yeah.
what they're wearing.
That's been a problem at other churches.
Yeah,
that-
absolutely.
Right.
Just look at who all the apostles and disciples were.
Yeah.
That were chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of them were the perfect looking person. Yeah.
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 I found which one he left out. It is to keep the Sabbath.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right.
I got
That's
to think
right.
about that while you were talking, Shawnee. I was listening, I promise, but how my brain works. So I was thinking about that. I think probably the reason he didn't say that was because people were using that as an excuse not to do anything at all, including help other people. And how many times did Jesus on the Sabbath heal other people and help them?
Yeah, that's
And then
right.
he'd be like, what, you think that you can't heal someone and make their lives better on the Sabbath just because it's the Sabbath? So I think maybe that's the reason he left that one
Yeah.
last. Because then people were just using it as an excuse.
Makes sense.
That, and I think we're not supposed to just worship God on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're supposed to constantly
Yep.
be worshiping God. And the way that the Jewish people did it before, at least from what I understand of Scripture, is that it was mostly the Sabbath. I mean, they
Yeah.
had their prayers and they had their little traditions and their routines that were daily, but it was the Sabbath was the big show.
Right.
Yeah, it got to a point where it was more like methodical and not actual worship anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I don't know how many times you go through the Bible and God is just plain old pissed off at them.
Well, and
Straight up.
it's interesting going into certain denominations how that's kind of repeated, where it is just Sunday is the only day.
Yeah.
And it's rote. It's
Yeah, it's the same thing every time. And
yeah.
The
Yeah.
Catholic Church is very much that way. I don't know
Yeah.
if any of you have attended Catholic services.
I was in a Catholic
Only
wedding and I've been
Fridays.
to one service and it's just seems very not right to me, especially when I talk to people that are Catholic to see what they do. It's like you're praying to multiple beings here. That's not allowed, for one. You don't pray to Mary. You don't pray to the angels. That's not allowed. It's not supposed to happen. And there's just things that they're doing, and I'd pull up the Bible and be like, well, it says that's not anywhere in here. And then we listen. When Dawn and I did that podcast with the guys in Oklahoma, the Help My Unbelief guys, and I love their podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it, I'd highly recommend listening to it.
It's on my list, but I haven't listened to it yet.
Yep, they get a lot of witches on there, and a lot of them that are witches, apparently they grew up Catholic, and they said a lot of what the Catholic Church does is in the witchcraft part of the side of things that they still do in witchcraft. So I don't know.
Well, very ritualistic, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
I guess if there's any Catholics out there listening, I'd love to have a talk. Get you on and just talk about things. Maybe clear some things up on your end so us people that aren't Catholic understand a little better. It's just, I don't know, there's a lot of maybe misunderstanding. Hopefully that's all it is, but I don't know.
I might be able to help you with that. We have a friend that we game with on Mondays that's Catholic. That
Yeah.
would be fun to interact with her
Yeah. Yeah.
because she's a good person and
Yeah.
she's pretty open-minded. It's not like she'd take offense by being on,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
she'd tell you what the Catholic
It's like I have a lot of friends that are Catholic, but I don't know if they'd ever get on and discuss with us.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't seem like a lot of them actually even know what's in the Bible. Like there's people at work, they don't know what's in the Bible. They're just like, we weren't taught. We just went off what the guy at the pulpit
Yeah.
said. That's not what you're supposed to do either. You're supposed to get into that Bible.
Right.
I see you got your Bible, Chris. What'd you have to feel compelled to look up and tell us?
I wanted to look at Acts chapter 10 because this is the
Looks old.
American Standard. It's funny, this Bible was given to me by my mom when my dad passed away.
Yeah.
But this Bible originally was from the pastor of the church that I got my salvation from, my test.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. This was pastor, his name was Larry. So this Bible's been around. I just wanted to look and see what the this version
So that's
said.
Acts chapter 10, verse 11 is where I was reading from. 11 to like 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, it's fairly close, but that's what I expect. I'd recently gotten this Bible out because I had another Bible, and I think that one got destroyed. So I was looking at this one to see what it said on that.
It's interesting to see the different wordings and all the
Yeah.
different types of Bibles. They all stick to the same concept of everything. It's just like some of the Hebrew, Greek, or Aramaic translations can differ to like multiple different kinds of English words that mean the same darn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my original Bible that I got from my church was also the ASB, and that's like the only one that I really owned. Like I think I had a study Bible at one point that I was gifted by a family member, but I don't know where that one's at. After we moved,
Yeah.
so that's like the only one that I've had. But now I have a couple in my Amazon cart, and I'm like, next paycheck. So I've got another study Bible coming that I'm really interested in because it's supposed to have like comparisons to other versions of other translations.
That's cool.
My mom used to have one of those. It was called a Rainbow Bible. It had like 4 different translations, and each page. I think each page had 2,
I
and they
saw
were
one of those.
they were different colors. The different translations.
Yeah.
My mom used to have one of those. Oh,
I
she still does.
considered putting one of those in my cart because I'm like that would be really cool because it was like NLT, ASB, King James, then something else. But it was
Yeah.
just like that would be kind of interesting to see all of them side by side.
Yeah, and each translation was a different color if I remember correctly, because that way it was easy to tell.
Yeah.
And it was the same verses side by side. And I think it was 4 different translations in that book.
Right.
Well,
So
what I like about my NLT is it actually pulls up the Hebrew words, the original Hebrew words. It'll have it down at the bottom of the page, so you can actually see the original context.
yeah.
Like this word doesn't make sense. I'll have an asterisk next to it, go down to the Hebrew and read the definition of it, or the Greek or the Aramaic, whatever word it was in.
Yeah.
You got me thinking about how we have all the different translations, like you said, the NIV, ESV, whatever. People will use that as a main argument to try to disprove the Bible. But when we found the Dead Sea Scrolls, and then they were all original Bible, and those translated directly correlate with every Bible we have today. So it just proves it. So yeah, that's how my mind is. I'm sure you guys have noticed that on the podcast that you listen to. I bounce everywhere. What were we talking about?
What's your testimony?
I guess I've always kind of had try again, reset on the brain. Had confusion on what exactly is testimony. Is that just a point in time where you finally accept it, or is it your whole story coming up to that point? Because my whole story is super long.
It can be both.
I think it can
Yeah,
be both.
there can be a short version and a long version. I think I kind of gave my long version.
And you can also have a testimony just for a certain event that's not salvation testimony.
It could
That's
be like the point in your life that was pivoting.
Because I know there's certain points of my whole story that I want to save for kind of October, for that like kind of Halloweenish type episodes. I want to get Brad on for that too, because there's a lot of like spiritual things that happen. Like I told Dalton one day that I knew evil existed before I knew God existed. So there's a foreshadowing thing there, whatever you want to say. There's lots of spiritual, spooky stuff happened in my life, but I never really thought of my personal testimony.
No? Now's the time. No, I'm just kidding.
Now's happens all the time, Jake. You're on the spot.
It's okay. You put us on the spot first.
Yeah.
Turnabout's fair play.
Guess first, it's just manners, right?
Right?
You should have yours all thought out.
See, I've thought about that before, and I always had a hard time. It's like, I don't know how far back to go.
Yeah.
Or you could just go to the point where you knew that you were going to become saved.
Okay, so like, I'll start off with the one that my mom kind of had me baptized, or somewhat, at the Methodist church. I don't know if you were you there for that? It's like, I think I knew God existed. I didn't really know about Jesus. Like, he was kind of like, oh, there was Jesus. That's like all how I kind of was. And I think I only did it was to like kind of make my mom happy. So once I actually started falling head over heels into the Bible and for Jesus and all that, I realized that wasn't right. And so like I told Dalton, I don't know, how long ago was that? It's like, I want to get rebaptized.
That happened in April, so.
Well, no, it was like a year before that I started talking about it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, it was like when we started going to this church again, I started realizing a lot of things, and the way I researched, just started delving into a lot of different things. And I don't know, my testimony. My testimony. I think maybe the children's church had a lot of help with that too, because for me, it's like I need to get better at this to help them understand. And I think the one thing that solidified it. Should I talk about that dream I had?
You can.
I can't. Whoa. No, this way now. No.
Well, now you're off screen.
You just want to see how big my head is, how huge I am compared to you. I think eventually, like when it does come to that October episode, I will definitely go delve more into my past and well, let's just say at one point we had to have 3 priests at a house because some bad things were happening. But wow, I just kind of went back there. So I'm just gonna stick to the more recent side of things before I got baptized again. When I pray, I normally pray for people to have a burning bush moment. It's like I never thought I had to have one, and then for some reason I did one night. And I'm gonna pull it up so make sure I tell it correctly.
You took notes after.
I wrote it down right away. It's in my documents here. The only other person besides Shawnee that is, well, no, I sent it to Dalton.
Yeah.
And
But you talked it through with Holly.
yeah, talked it through with Holly. Where is it? That's my whole deal on teaching about Jesus' death. That's not it. I lost it.
By the way, I thought you did a good job on teaching that to the kids.
Dude, I was so...
It's a super hard topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got distracted a lot by the kids.
They were asking a lot of questions. Some were really good questions.
That's my beekeeping book I'm writing. That's not what I want. I'll just try to go with what I remember.
Yeah.
So in my dream, I was like kind of in the present. I was there with this kind of like bright place, and there was these 2, I guess, individuals that were kind of like children, is what I would see them as, talking to somebody that I couldn't see their face because it was just so bright. Like it's like someone had a fog light or something just flashing in your eyes. It was the most pure light you'd ever seen, just super bright. But you could look at it at the same time, but you just couldn't see. And it was talking to these kids and telling them all about, I'd say, the Gospels and the whole story and all that. And eventually asked the kids, would you follow me? And the one kid was super eager and like, yes, I will do what you want. And all that. The other one wanted to, like I could feel what it wanted, I could feel it. It wanted to, but it had some like a pullback at the same time. And then the being that I finally figured out who it was, but looked straight at me and just commanded me to follow him. And like instantly I knew who that was. I'm getting all choked up here.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I haven't talked about it besides shouting out loud.
It's alright.
It's all right.
I instantly knew it was Jesus talking to me. And it's like, okay, so those two people, those two kids were me. It's like where half of me was like, yes, but half of me was holding back. It's like I need to be all for him. So it was like I was commanded to do it. So, yeah. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Completely understandable.
That's a
But
big thing.
Yeah.
I had to research that too. Every other people having dreams.
He researches everything.
Yes. I gotta validate things. And apparently other people have had similar dreams of Jesus to where they can't see his face. It's this bright light, but they just know. So it's like, okay, so that wasn't just some random dream I had.
Yeah.
Right.
Usually prophetic dreams are different. I've had quite a few prophetic dreams, and some of them are completely literal, and things happen exactly the way they do them in the dream that I had. Sometimes they are more, what's the word I'm looking for? Figurative.
Yeah.
They don't exactly go along with it. My mom, when I was a kid, she had a fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. She still has it, but she was working on trying to get her disability for chronic fatigue fibromyalgia because she couldn't work. And I had a dream that we were standing in the kitchen. The mailman came, and the driveway was really long, and the mailbox was at the end of the driveway. And she sent me out to get the mail, and her disability confirmation letter that she received it was in the mail. And I woke up the next day, and I knew that she was going to win her disability. And I told her, I said, Mom, stop worrying about it. God's got it. It's going to be, your information's going to be coming. And it showed up like a week later, the letter that said that this is going to happen.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and I've had other dreams that have been a lot more figurative about different things. I had one when I was in high school, and this one's kind of graphic. I was at, some of it's just weird, but I was at.
I'm all about the weird. So.
I was at my house, and I had a friend over. At the time, I was going to school in Atchison, and this was a friend from Atchison, but on the weekends, we'd go home to Kansas City. And in the dream, my friend was there at the house, and she came over to the counter, this counter that wasn't actually in our kitchen, that had a meat grinder on it, and she threw a child on the counter, and she's like, I want a pound of hamburger, and she ran this child through the grinder.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So in that one, there was a bunch of other weird stuff. Like there was a guy that was in the vegetable drawer of the refrigerator that was laying on a piece of roast beef covered up with a piece of lettuce, that was wearing like suspenders and nerdy glasses and silly stuff like that. There were neon green basketball sized spiders that were in the backyard, and there were hundreds of Rottweiler puppies in the backyard. It's like all of that stuff was just weird random crap from my mind. But that friend of mine, she got pregnant and she had an abortion, and that was, that part of the dream, because I couldn't stop thinking about that part of the dream. And that was a figurative that, this is going to happen to her, but I didn't understand it at the time. Yeah. And she wasn't dating anybody. She wasn't being promiscuous at the time. It wasn't anything that I could understand because I was only like 14.
Yeah.
But that part of the dream, that was prophetic.
Yeah. And that part stood out to you.
Yeah, and it did.
Wow.
So I've had both. But the parts of the dreams or full dreams that are prophetic, in my experience, have been very, that there's something different about this. And it's really hard to explain if you haven't experienced it before.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of like when my grandpa passed away from lung cancer. I knew before my mom called us. It's like I had a dream or something about it, but I knew beforehand, so I know that was just getting me prepared for that, so then I wasn't so, I guess, overcome with emotion when I was a kid with that one. Because I don't know if my mom could have handled that.
Yeah.
All his kids falling apart when she's already fallen apart. But
Yeah.
I mean, then to go further with it, I was, testimony wise, sorry. It was one day we were singing you're a good father. When I realized finally that God has always been there through all the evil things, and I started realizing the things that have happened, that He was there protecting and doing things against the evil that I didn't understand, and realized that yes, He was there. Just because I didn't have a biological dad with me didn't mean I didn't have my father there.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I ever cried in church too.
No, but it was.
Like I teared up before, but no, that one had me crying.
Like full on
Yeah.
snot and tears. Yeah.
I'm okay. You keep looking at me all concerned here. I'm okay. It's a little red, but I'm okay.
I can really feel for you on the whole crying at church thing, because after my brother passed, my brother and I were basically like twins, even though it was 4 years apart. We were the only siblings. We didn't have to talk. We could just look at each other and know what we were thinking. And that year after he passed, every Sunday I went to church. I just get hit and I just sob, and it sucked because I go with her knowing I'm gonna cry. All these people are gonna see me, but I'm just like, I need to be healed, so I have to just tough it out.
Yeah.
But every time you get in the car, you're like,
Prepare yourself.
here we go. Yeah, you're just getting ready.
Yeah.
And it was rough, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we only went like maybe one Sunday a month then.
Yeah. Because I was a mess.
Because I'm terrible at waking up. Terrible at waking up.
Me too.
He has to wake me up, and so if he was too down to go to church, then we didn't go because I didn't wake up. So
Yeah.
And then you had the question of, was there ever a point of like where you fell away from the church, whatever, fell away from it? I think I did when our brother-in-law passed away
Yeah.
from his self-inflicted deal, and like
You can say it.
from his suicide.
Yeah.
And I think I was mad at God, even though I knew I shouldn't have been. And that's when I started delving into a lot of the mythological things, where I was researching Odin and Thor and all that stuff. Because it is my genetic ancestry is that entire region. Like straight up, it's all Nordic. But so I was all falling into that. Then I don't know, Ronan pulled me out of that. When he started asking questions about God and Jesus and all that, it pulled me out. So that was definitely a time that I fell away.
Yeah.
It got real silent there, but so to everyone out there listening, you can fall away and come back. You're going to be welcome back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you walk into a church that doesn't welcome you, go somewhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Come to
absolutely.
Abundant Life in Grand Island, Nebraska. We'll love on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will hug
Apparently,
you.
there is another Abundant Life church in Kansas City, Missouri, that my cousin goes to, and it sounds a lot like ours, which is great.
That's
This
cool.
is extremely
So-
similar to ours.
Yeah, so we were kind of curious if there was kind of any kind of affiliation or anything, but
See, I
didn't
thought
get a
there
chance
was
to ask
between the
anyone today.
Abundant Lives that they had affiliations with each other.
I don't know. I don't know the churches that were affiliated with or with. I don't remember the name of the group.
Isn't it Open Bible?
have no
I don't
idea.
remember.
Yeah.
Have to ask somebody that
Yeah.
remembers
Sometimes-
titles and stuff.
Sometime we'll have to track somebody down. Who knows?
Yeah, they've
but
talked
that was
about
interesting.
it. They've talked about it before during services, like when we were going through the transition with Jay. They talked about the organization,
Oh yeah.
but I don't remember.
'Cause I thought they mentioned other Abundant Life churches when they were talking about that at one point.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all called Abundant Life or what they're called,
Yeah.
but
I don't think they all are.
I was under the impression that they aren't, but I have no idea.
There might be others that are though.
Either way, it's cool if that church is called Abundant Life and
Yeah.
they have like our same exact ideals at this
So
church.
if you're in Kansas City, Missouri, there's one that you can go to.
Yeah.
Oh,
One recommendation.
at least it seems like it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, from everything that she said, it's a lot like ours. So
There are a few of them on YouTube too, because if you're looking for abundant life, others come up.
Oh, yeah. Ours specifically is Abundant Life.
GI, I believe.
GI, yeah. ALCGI?
I think.
ALCC.
Abundant Life Christian Center. GI is the .com, so ALCCGI.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't changed that name because I thought they were
I
dropping
think
the Christian Center part
There's
of
been
it.
talks, but I don't think it's official, or they have. It is a lot of work to change
Yeah,
all of
man.
your contact information.
It's also all on the websites, the website addresses.
Yeah.
ALCCGI.com.
So even if maybe you don't specifically say Christian Center after it all the time, like it takes a lot of work to change all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're at Great Island, stop by.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hug. I don't care. And if you got kids, we'll love on them too. We'll have fun in the children's ministry, dancing and learning about Christ and God and the Holy Spirit. Don't forget Him. Everyone seems to always forget the Holy Spirit when they talk about things. Or like, once again, I had to research what they used to, how it was pronounced back in the old days. Raul Kakodesh was a Holy Spirit in Hebrew. So, I thought that was pretty cool. Just like Yeshua and Yahweh and all that good stuff.
He's like the silent part of the Trinity.
Yeah, but he's like, it seems like he's the most like, don't do that. I'm gonna convict you.
Yeah,
Yes.
very active. If you're listening, you'll he's very, very active.
I had to explain it to Rhoda one day. I'm like, have you ever done something, bud, that you feel like you shouldn't very strongly? He goes, yeah. I'm like, that's probably the Holy Spirit sitting there telling you to not do that.
Yeah.
And that was that incident where he got grounded last.
Yeah.
He let a different person influence him to doing something he shouldn't have done.
And he knew he shouldn't have because he got in trouble for it before.
No.
See, that's part of the thing, though. You have the choice.
Well,
God,
it was a good lesson on peer pressure too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Holy Spirit, you always have the choice to do what God or the Holy Spirit wants you to do, but you always have the choice to do the other thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You have the choice.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, you'll feel the prompting. You'll.
Yeah.
But it is still your choice whether to obey or not.
Yep.
And that's another thing people bring up too. Well, if God knows what you're gonna choose, well, then why does He ever give you the choice or not? It's like I came to the thought process of God knows all the outcomes of all your choices, but He'd rather you choose this one route. But He knows that you can go this other way. He knows what's gonna happen there.
Yeah.
It's hard for a hard concept to understand.
I think sci-fi kind of helps with that concept a little bit, though, with all of like the multiverse or
Multiverse and the time travels and
Was it like Doctor
parallel
Who
universes.
stuff?
Yeah.
So, like, if you think about it that way, then it's like He already knows all of these different things that could lead you here.
And He wants you to take this path.
Like, this would
Not
be the ideal
this path.
one. But He also knows that you might end up over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's
But
always
it's
a way back.
dependent on your choices where you end up.
Yep.
Yeah, but there's always a way back to where He wants you to be. Sometimes, depending on the choices you make, it may take years,
Yeah.
but there's always a route back.
Yeah, and you may miss out on blessings, you may miss out on certain things, but
Yeah.
there is always a path back.
That's one thing I've learned,
Yep.
for sure.
He wants you to come back.
Yeah. Well, you guys have any final words? We're over an hour and 10 minutes now. I don't know how much editing I actually need to do on this besides maybe some vocal stuff on the mic, but
Yeah.
it's been a good one. I really enjoyed having you guys.
Well, thanks. It was a lot of fun.
It's fun.
I hope we're on later on, too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we got nothing.
These two are some awesome people, and they're probably some of our favorite people in the church, so
Aw.
we had to have you on. All right, well, we love you guys. And do we end it with the closing prayer?
Do you wanna?
I guess I can. Do you guys want to do one?
I can. I don't know.
All right, yeah. All right, Chris, rock it out.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings that you give us, and we thank you that you give us we have free will to make choices, and We know that you will continue to bless us and give us strength when we need it. In your holy and blessed name, amen.
All right. We love you. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.